¿Qué onda, mirecita? Mayday, mayday. Good morning to you and yours. Beautiful morning. Know what I was just thinking? I was thinking from everybody that I know, in general, the happiest people I've met are Mexicans. They also do the hardest jobs too. And they're the guys that are smiling the most, they're laughing the most. And I love that. I love my Mexican people. I love them. We love the Mexicans. Oh man. We love the coffee. We love the coffee. It's so good. We love Bike Place Roast. Bike Place Roast. We have some of the best coffee in the world. And that is no cap. In Seattle, we are known to have the best coffee. All the best coffees. Port City, right? We don't grow any of it here. It's just the port city. They bring it here. But we have all the beans. We have all the best stuff. I guarantee you, all those transplants that come here from from different states, from the east, from the south, and they come to places like Washington and California. They get snobby about their coffee. That's a very West Coast thing. We're incredibly snobby about our coffee. I didn't realize how bad it was, but even our gas station coffee is pretty snobby. We have construction workers who get their morning joes at Chevrons and stuff. And I was over there waiting in line to pay for my shit. And this guy just had, you don't have, he was asking the guy at the counter, he's like, you don't have the Arabica blend? You don't have the Brazil? That's that's a shame on you. I was like, what the fuck? I guess it spread over to the gas station coffee too. He didn't say shame on you. He said something like, "Oh, unbelievable." He said something like that. He had the biggest smugness about it. Construction guy, just a big dude. Big beard dude was concerned about the coffee blend at the gas station. Gotta love Seattle, man. You gotta love Pacific Northwest. Even our burly guys, they're smug assholes, pompous assholes about like the most stupid things. I mean, I guess it's not. I guess it's coffee is important to us. We're in that area that's it's got large overcast. It's cloudy. Coffee is basically the cure to all the things that come with that, right? So if you remember those overcast days, uh, if it's about to rain, it's just cloudy. If you look up in the sky and it's just gray, it's just gray skies. Oh, you need something like coffee. You need something like other substances to really get you through. This is why right now we have beautiful blue skies, no clouds. We have sun, probably the record high sun this year so far. Record high temperatures. It is gorgeous. This feels like some kind of paradise. Like I can't even imagine that this is our state right now. I always forget that this is how we could have life. It just gives you a certain pep in your step. It gives you a little zip. But it's because we're starved for it, you know. We're like those women who never got pieced in, we never got railed in, and we live with cats. And the sun comes in, and all of a sudden, I just feel like a woman. Oh, I don't have to chop my hair short anymore. Thank goodness. I can wear my sundress. Oh yeah, I'm starved for sun, like those women who chop their hairs off and dye it some weird color. And all men are pigs. All men are pigs. That's me with weather. All rain is bad. We hate rain. I hate weather. I hate the climate. That's me. I'm like that woman. But yeah, like I was saying, we love our Mexican people as the most positive people. There's something about that, you know. Just they say that hard work is good for you. It's good for your soul. Working a difficult job is great for you. It's very rewarding. It is. No, it is rewarding knowing that you're essential to making things happen. Without you, uh, it'll all collapse, I guess. I don't know. Maybe not collapse, but like you will be. It feels good feeling like accomplishment, you know what I mean? And I don't feel that in my recent job. I don't. Uh, but if I was like a roofer or like a siding guy, or I used to do lawns. I used to mow lawns. I felt really accomplished on those days. It was gorgeous lawns. We love lawns. And like I used to have a house cleaning business. Also felt accomplished. I didn't do the cleaning actually. I did vacuuming was pretty much the extent of what I did. But it was my girlfriend and we hired people too. But nevertheless felt accomplished. And I don't know, some jobs like office work, you might feel like you're doing a lot of work, like a lot of busy work, filing things, recording things. It just doesn't feel like an accomplishment, you know, it doesn't feel fulfilling. It's like, yeah, this is great, but it's like I'm sacrificing my life here just for some, I don't know, some pixels on a screen. Like I don't know, it just doesn't feel the same, you know. And I feel like that might be the reason why Mexicans are so happy. It's just they see their work right there. Like if I was a roofer, I'd take all my daughters and my sons, load them up in the car, drive around the neighborhood and show them all the roofs I put up, all the shingles, everything. You see that roof right there? Do you see that roof, baby girl? You see that one? You see that, son? Your old man did that. See that? No weather's getting through there. No rain's gonna leak through that roof. You see that? I did that. There's the evidence right there. I'm gonna take a picture of this and put it on a card, and gonna hand out all these cards to people. I mean, that's a beautiful thing, right? There's the evidence right there. Like, who cares if you made a journal entry into into your program, and you took a picture. You see those journal entries. You see the credits and debits. How they're balancing. I mean, for certain people, I think that would be a beautiful thing. Uh, but I don't think a little boy and girl would care about that so much. Maybe they would. I don't know. We're getting some strange kids these days. Strange children. I remember myself when I was that age, right? I remember the kind of things that fascinated me. I liked motorcycles. I liked dirt bikes. I liked just dumb things, right? I like fire. I remember I was a little pyromaniac is what they called me. I was a little arsonist, just starting fires everywhere. I wasn't like, burning things down. I was just playing with it. I didn't, thank God I didn't hurt anybody. But I was known to do things like that, right? And the kids these days, I'm not gonna mention any names, but I have spent a lot of time with, I guess this is Gen Alpha now, Gen Alpha children, and I've observed their behavior and what the things that they like. I mean, I suppose if somebody introduced fire to them and motorcycles and dirt bikes, I mean, I'm sure we could get like a little bit of a reaction from that from those kids, right? But naturally, what they're glued to is iPads. They like iPads. They like this weird alien music. There's this Roblox. There's these alien friends that they like. It's just the weirdest thing ever to me. I feel like they would also like journal entries. They would like to balance their books. Those are the kids that would love balancing their books. They're not little hellraisers. They're not little. They're just. I don't know. They're okay with just being sedentary. I mean, they do play. I've taken him to parks and stuff. Does ride bikes. He reads like all those things. All those things. Maybe it's just this kid specifically, but I've been hearing similar things from a lot of people. The autistic kids, they love the journal entries. They love accounting. They love engineering. Imagine like a little 6 year old kid who made blueprints to the Taj Mahal or something, and he built it out of Legos. It's like, how do you even discipline a kid like that? Like, how do you send him to the room? He just built a Taj Mahal out of Legos, dude. And he figured out structural integrity and things like that. He figured out engineering at 6. And he has the internet to teach him everything he needs to know. He could just look it up and he just figured it all out. Meanwhile, you're in your 30s complaining about coffee beans at the Chevron station. How do you discipline a child like that? I feel like he would just look at you with contempt. This kid would just be like, "You're hindering my progress, father." These autist kids, dude. These brainiac kids. These Joel Osmond, whatever that guy from Six Senses. Father, I'm ready for my supper now. I need sustenance, Father. And please, no more of those. Please, no more of those kid meals. They're so juvenile, Father. What would you do? What would you do if your kid was like that? What would you do? Oh, man. There's nothing you can do. Where the fuck is my mug? Where did I put that bitch? Oh, there it is. It's right in front of me. Duh. Duh. The Alzheimer's, it is coming in strong. We see the Alzheimer's. We see the dementia is coming in. The jaundice. The beer gut. All of the above. We love aging, don't we, folks? We love it. Let's have our coffee so I can concentrate. I'm one of those. Don't talk to me till I have my coffee, okay? Man, coffee's not one of those drinks. I think the drinks are usually Sprite. Because the commercial told me. The commercial told me to do that. So I do. I'm a good consumer. When they sell me a product and tell me to enjoy it, this is what I do. This is how I found everything. This is what I love about America. When I came to America, I said, wow, they're just suggesting all these great things for you for free. Like, I don't have to go out there and figure things out. I just turn on my TV and there it is. There's Sprite commercials. There's Coca-Cola. We love Coca-Cola. Folgers coffee. We have Folgers coffee. What was it that we're trying to make great again? What was so great that we're trying to return to? Is it the Chuck E. Cheese? You know? 'Cause I feel like I'm starting to do the same Trump thing. I'm starting to say, make it great again. Maybe this is the better version of things. Like iPads and internet is the better version of childhood. Because I would be doing the exact same thing if I had iPads and I was 5 years old. I would be doing Lego constructions and things. I would be some kind of autistic kid for sure. Just reading about everything. I probably have a phase where I'm into bugs, you know? I'd be like the bug kid. Like, I'd really, really love bugs. You know, the exoskeleton protects it. They don't have bones like we do. They have their exoskeleton is on the outside. You know, you ever meet those bug kids? You know, an ant can lift 300 times its own weight. those kids who just love bugs. I'd probably be something like that. I would be obsessed. Let me try to remember what I really loved when I was a child. I used to like drawing. I used to like drawing cars. I loved cars. I remember ever since my first memories were just me identifying cars. There was uh, there was this magazine where people would be selling cars, and I would just pick them, and I would just imagine myself driving them. I just so obsessed with cars. Like I still have my little tricycle. I was 3 years old, 4 years old. I'd be asking my dad every single car. I'm like, "What car is that?" And he'd be like, "That's a Lada." I'm like, "Okay, remember." What car is that? That's a Capega. I'm like, "Oh, that's a Capega." Okay, so yeah, these are Soviet cars, also imported. I knew Renault. I knew Peugeot. These are the French cars. We had a lot of French cars in Ukraine. We had a lot of American imported cars. We had German cars, a lot of German cars. A lot of brands that you don't see here. They're pretty much the same car, usually owned by some parent company that you have heard of. Just the make and model is different. It's interesting how they market these, but yeah, that's what I balled out on the most. I probably would have loved something like an iPad where I can look up the interior of the cars. I probably would have liked this guy, Saab Kyle. He just goes to these car dealerships and he just films them. And pretty sure he has some autism in him too. Saab Kyle. I forgot about Saab Kyle till just now. I probably would have been Saab Kyle if I grew up in America. Oh man. I was obsessed with these cars, and I wanted to drive a truck ever since I was. This is one of my first memories. Is me driving. I see this puddle, right? It's a flooded puddle. It's like a big puddle, and I want to take a big ass truck and go right through it with these big ass tires and just go right through that puddle. That was my first memory. One of my first memories. I didn't start banking my memories till like three or four. I don't ever have very few memories before that. Maybe like some sounds, some colors, some things like that. Like I remember I discovered pink for the first time, and I was like, something is. I don't like this color. It's bright, right? I discovered pink, and I didn't like it. And my mom was just like, "Well, yeah, pink is for girls." I remember asking her for that about it, but now I like pink. It's just I didn't like the pink building blocks or something, right? I didn't like those colors, and my mom would be like, Why are you so?" I'm like, "I don't like this color. It's bright. I didn't like the bright colors." Maybe I was autistic too. maybe I had maybe I had Chernobyl ghoul syndromes. Like maybe I saw colors, and to me they just look really bright, but they're not really bright. And maybe when I moved out of that area, the radiation levels subsided, and now I'm half alright. Wow, I just rambled on for 24 minutes. I didn't even say anything worthwhile. Old Billy Buns. There's a there's a cool joke I heard about Adam and Eve. There's a Russian, French, and a British guy they're seeing this painting of Adam and Eve on a canvas, and they're all looking at it, and they're all trying to decide which nationality does Adam and Eve belong to. The Englishman looks at it in painting and says, "I say, they're so demure." They're so reserved. Obviously, the Englishman. The Frenchman says, "Look at these people. They're beautiful. They're naked. They're French." Because of the exhibitionism. And the Russian shakes his head and says, "Comrades, you are both wrong. Look closely at detail in the painting. These people have no clothes. These people have nowhere to live. These people have only one apple to share between them for food. And these people being told they live in paradise. These people are Russian." Some communist jokes for you guys. That's what communism is. You guys want to know what communism is? I know some of you college graduates, they really like the idea of communism. I'll tell you what communism is. Communism is the perestroika and the 5-year plan, right? So you work for 5 years. You don't have any savings. You don't have anything. You don't own anything. On the empty promise that in the future you might get it, right? In the future, you need to do all these things right now. All these things must come to pass so that in 5 years we can reach that goal and we can finally have it. So in Russia, in Soviet Union, and in other countries, I think there's other countries that have done the 5-year plan thing. And it never worked, right? So like the first 5-year plan, they did it. Everybody worked extra hard. They're like, okay, this is worth it. We're gonna sacrifice. This is amazing. And there was nothing. There was literally, they had to share one apple. And they're like, you guys have, this is it. This is the thing where we're talking about, the paradise. This is what we just reached. So during the communism era, they've extended the railroad, right? They've extended all industries. They've made all these power plants. They made all these roads. And nobody had cars to drive. Nobody had any jobs after this was over. After they built all these things, they're like, go back to the farm where you came from. The guys in the city, they were wealthy before. Like these peasants came in, they built all these nice things for them. They're like, okay, guys, go back to where you came from. They would all just fight for the opportunity to come work in Moscow and places like that during the communist times, during the 5-year perestroika plan. They promised you the world. They promised you a paradise. And then they had, kind of like a delay, kind of like we're waiting for Skyrim 6 to come out, Elder Scrolls 6. Kind of like we're waiting for Grand Theft Auto 6. That's exactly what communism is. It just keeps delaying. So then they had another 5-year plan. So then they had a 10-year plan. And then another one after that, I think. There was like 3 5-year plans. None of them came to fruition because, these guys just pocketed all the money, all the wealth. And it just immediately got corrupted. It didn't even take long. I think they got corrupted like the first year that communism existed. They're like, this is obviously stupid. No one's gonna... Just the idea of it is... It's interesting. Which is really boggles my mind. Like I hear Ivy League school graduates, they come out of school You know, they tell them how bad capitalism is. They tell them how bad and unfair it is. The 1%, they're just getting rich and rich. Look at these 1%ers. Look at them. Everybody else has this little piece of the pie. The 1%, they have all of it. The inequality is so bad. We need socialism. We need communism. I mean, you could be that 1%. I mean, what's stopping you, right? You just do the opposite of what the banks tell you, right? The banks don't want you to get 1%. They want you to pay interest, right? They want you to get a loan and not pay it off right away, right? They want you to get loans. They want you to get financed on your cars and on your items. And then this is why everyone is poor. It's because we're all paying the banks interest every month. It's because you couldn't get your house without financing it. You couldn't get your car without financing it. You had to get the most expensive car that they had and buy that one. And that's why you'll always be poor. Like that's not what the 1% guys are doing. Those guys are getting assets, right? They're getting things that are bringing them wealth. They're not buying things on credit, right? That's the problem. The problem is consumerism, like being obedient wage slaves. And communism is not the solution for that. The solution is just don't listen to banks and don't fall into that programming, that consumerism. Be bold enough to not have a car. Think about that. Like on the East Coast, maybe that's more of a plausible thing. Here you can't not have a car, right? Here you need a car. If you want to go shopping, if you want to have a family, you want to go anywhere, there's no sidewalks. There are very few sidewalks. It's very dangerous to walk around on the streets here in America, in the suburbia. In If you're in the city, it's much easier. You can get around, you know, Ubers and things like that, whatever. We have pretty good public transportation in our area. It is very possible if you're in the city to not have a car, right? In the city, if you're working and living in the city, you can survive, right? But if you're in the suburbs, it just becomes 10 times harder because the nearest bus stop would be like a mile from you, right? You need a car. You say, what about a bike? Right. You want to be that douchebag causing congestion? You want to be that guy with your ass hanging up in the air so everyone has to look at your ass with those tight pants? You want to be that guy? You want to be that douchebag that has to. You want to be that exhibitionist? You want to be that French guy, just showing your brown eye to the whole world. You're Nobody wants to see that, right? So you have to get a car, right? But do you have the courage to not get the most expensive car? You're not getting the Benzes and the Lexus, and you're not getting the BMW. You're getting a Honda Accord from 1998, like Warren Buffett. Actually, look this up. Warren Buffett actually does have like a car that a regular person can afford. He drives a Cadillac CTS or something like that. And it's not the newest model. It's from like 2012 or something like that. Like he got that car a while ago. And if it works for Warren Buffett, who's a billionaire, he's like the fourth richest guy in America, in the world. If a Cadillac CTS is good enough for Warren Buffett, you know, Why do you need a Lexus, and why do you need these status symbols and these G wagons and these ML320s and whatever else these people are getting? These overpriced cars, you know, these wage slaves, bank slaves. Um, if you're smart, I know my family, they're involved in flipping cars and things. They never lose on cars. They just get cars and they flip them. The most they would lose is they would just break even on them, right? But they're getting they're fixing them up. There's some rare parts and things like that, whatever niche market kind of cars. But I'm talking about the regular American, the regular 99 percenter. Or I guess they call them the 90 percenter. The top 10% of America live like royalty. We live so well in America. We have it's unprecedented. We live better than the Victorian age people, like their elite class, their aristocrats wish they could have the shit we have. They wish they could have the shit we have, right? But you don't have to go and finance this stuff. You can get, the older model things. I started about 10 years ago. I was open. I no longer wanted the latest phone anymore. I said I'll get the second best one. I'll get the third best one. I'm not paying premium for a phone anymore. I'm not paying $1,000 for a phone. That's ridiculous. $600. I think it only got worse. Right now the phones are like, you can get a car for that much money. you know. I'm not getting PlayStation 5. I remember I had PlayStation 4 for the longest time. I had PlayStation 4 on its very last life cycle. And everybody paid the premium during the COVID. Everyone paid $1,000 for their PlayStations. Because there was a congestion in the Suez Canal or whatever the fuck, right? There was a supply chain uh, issue there, right? In the world. That's why everything just skyrocketed in price. And now you can get a PlayStation 5 for, I think, $300, 250 or something like that. And only took a few years. You could have waited. But I was just as happy playing my PS4. I had the PS4. I had it for years. Then I sold it. I got my PS5. Had that for a few years. Gave that to my girlfriend's son. He didn't care for it. I sold it. Mm. Now I don't have a system. I just play on my phone. I just talk on my phone. Um, what was this tangent about? This was about being okay not spending on. Yeah, learn from the one percenters. This is what one percenters tell you. They say buying a car is the worst investment you could possibly have. It loses like 20% of its value or something like that the minute those back tires leave the car lot. You lose 20% of the value of the car immediately because it's no longer new, right? So it's like as soon as you sign, you finance the car and you sign the papers, they can't go back and sell that car to someone else without mentioning that it's already been sold to you, right? So that's where the value drops. It's because it's no longer a virgin car. That car has been tarnished by your ass when you sat in that seat and you drove it off off the lot. It's been tarnished by the banks who financed it for you. that VIN number has already been tarnished. It's been changed hands. So even if you return it 5 minutes after you leave the lot, they will have to include that it's been sold to you, and then you know that warranty, whatever, that 30-day money back guarantee thing. Um, they have to include all those things. If they try to sell that vehicle to somebody else, they'll be like, yes, this is a certified used vehicle now, because your ass signed the papers and you drove off the lot. And that's how you can win on a lot of these. Like, you can have somebody who bought a car that didn't like it, lost the value. They want to recoup as much money that they can, because they will lose, on sales tax, for example. They'll lose on that. They'll lose on other fees. They want to recoup as much as they can from what they paid, because they're like, wait a minute, I got duped. I don't want this car. Turns out I'm okay with a Honda Accord from 1998. I don't want this $57,000 vehicle that I have to make the car payments on every month. And the insurance is so much higher too. They find out all these different things that they didn't think ahead, right? So like, I don't want to pay this. This is outrageous. And they want to sell it for, sticker price. And that's where you can come in and lowball them, be like, hey, sucks for you that that happened. I'll give you 80% of the value of what you paid. You could be that predator. You can profit on this man's mistakes. And there are tons of people who are those sharks, those wolves out there. Don't be that sucker. Be the fucking, you know. I'm not saying be like laugh at other people's misery. Don't do that. That's a very unchristian thing to do. But you know, you can recoup that car much cheaper from them. Brand new car, basically, less than 10,000 miles on it, right? That car will last you just as long as the new car that you go and buy. You can buy this car. So just save up your cash, pay it in cash, and don't use the banks. Don't finance things. We did this exercise in math class, business math. We calculated how much money you pay for interest on a 30-year mortgage, on a $250,000 loan, something like that, $300,000 loan. And after I've calculated the compounding interest, right? So the way it works is you pay mostly interest for your first 10 years or something, or 15 years. You don't even touch the principal until the second half of that loan. You don't even start dipping into that principal. You're paying mostly interest for the first year and 5 years. It's all interest. It's barely any principal. It's the way it's set up is just incredible. Like that people are able to agree to those terms. Maybe it's because they just think that's the norm. That's what everyone does. But we've done that math, right? And after everything is said and done, you count up all that money that you spent, right, on this house, including the monthly payments, including the interest, on a 30-year mortgage, on a $300,000 principal. It comes out to 600,000, 50, 600,000, 80, 680,000, some like outrageous amount of money, right? So you take out that principal, so you're paying literally twice as much than what it's worth. Like, I get if you're borrowing money, usually you pay like a 20% fee or something, right? Like, oh, I didn't have the funds. Let me borrow this money and I'll pay you back with a 20% increase or something like that. That's already a lot, right? Like, that's called usury, right? So you borrow money from somebody, you pay them back, usually with even 1% interest or 2% interest. People had problems with that. They had beefs with that. They're like, that's usury. Why am I paying you more than what I borrowed? Well, yeah, you didn't have the money. I need to make a living too, right? I need to make a living too, right? You know, and they hated that in the medieval times. They used to forbid that. That's called usury. There was there were laws saying you can't lend money and expect an interest payment on them for a long time. The way people used to borrow money, it was, you lend and then you get back the money, right? There was no business there. It's just like, oh, I'm just gonna lend it and get it back. Now we have people voluntarily paying literally double of what they're borrowing, which is it, dude. If people had a problem with 1%, 2%, why are we not just up in arms about this double? You know, are banks really that powerful? They're just a bunch of nerds in suits. They're just sitting in some vault. Are they really that powerful? No, they're not. They're just nerds. Did they create this money? No. Do you know how banks work? Banks don't even have anything to back up that money with. They're literally just profiting off of nothing. They haven't done anything. They haven't contributed to the economy in any way whatsoever. They took money from the Fed. They took $100,000 and the law gives them permission to lend 10 times as much as what they took. They took 100,000. They're able to lend out $1 million to their communities, right? Or if they took out a mil, they can lend out 10. Automatically, they just times 10 their money without doing anything, right? And they're counting on the fact that you're going to go out and take this money and build things with it, and you will pay them back interest. And then out of that 100,000 that they created or they borrowed, they're able to create wealth out of the interest payments. So the people who are making all the wealth are the people who are building businesses, right? They're building trade, they're building commerce, they're selling things, they're buying things, they're creating wealth, right? The banks haven't created shit. You created that wealth, right? You created that wealth by going to work and doing your job and making things, for making those roofs, for mowing those lawns. You did that. You created something. You did a service. We have a very service heavy economy. We don't create as many things anymore. We used to create things. We used to make TVs and stuff here. We don't do that anymore. We still make some cars. We still make some planes, but largely every China makes things now. We do stuff. We do service things, right? So you did something for that money. You created some kind of value for that money that you borrowed. And you paid it back because you created more wealth through your effort. And other people would argue, well, if you know this, then why even go to the bank? And, I want to say the banks more people should know about this. And some people say, well, yeah, that's the system. That's how the economy works. This is how we're able to kickstart the economy. That's how we're able to beat the entire world in everything, in GDP and everything. That's how we're able to build industry no one's ever seen before, ever. It's because of that times 10 rule that banks have. And I say, not really. Not really. Maybe at one point we needed to do that times 10 thing, maybe to kickstart the economy, but that's no longer the case. If we were going to do something crazy like that, it was maybe should have lasted for one generation tops, right? But we did that for 3, 4, 5 generations, and we thought nothing bad will come of it, right? But what we have now is everybody in America, 50% of Americans are living right on the poverty line. They're one paycheck away from being kicked out on the street, right? Because of these exorbitant interest rates that just eat everything up. It's just like a big hole in your pocket, and you keep trying to fill it and fill it and fill it, and just everything just comes out, and you're just not keeping up. Not only are you not saving anything for yourself, but you're exhausting yourself working for these fucking banks, paying this interest on something that something retarded. It's like, imagine you borrowed $30 from your friend, and then you're paying those $30 back in $5 installments, and it takes you a year to pay it back. So you're paying him back $60, but you paid him $5 increments. Is literally exactly that. Like, if you say, like, well, you're not a good friend, you're kind of a piece of shit for doing that, right? It's $30, man. Relax. Why are you charging me 60? Why are you being such a hard on about this money, right? That's what the bank is doing to you, but on a much bigger scale, right? Credit cards, another fucking trap. Stay the fuck away from credit cards. 25% APR, something retarded. Don't even want to get started with credit cards. I mean, those people who do get stuck with a credit card debt, they deserve it. Because at least credit cards, we do have some general knowledge about them. That they're just the worst thing ever. They have worse rates than mafia sharks, than the bookies. The bookies don't charge as much as the credit cards do. It's insane. It's insane that this institution can even exist. It's why. On what legal grounds can they do that? Right? But that's what comes with. I'm also one of those people who are libertarian in nature. You know, I don't want a nanny government, or I don't want Big Brother telling me that credit cards are bad or something, right? What I do want to know is I want to inform you, right? That you're getting fucked on these deals. These are really bad deals. Don't ever sign up for them if you can. And if you already did, try to realize how heavy this is, right? Realize that this is voluntary slavery. This is what it is, right? Don't get enticed by possessions. Don't get enticed by material things. You don't need to get a diamond engagement ring for your wife that's a 6, dude. An engagement ring and then a wedding ring on top. That shit never made sense to me. Whoever invented engagement rings and then wife rings and then Gumar rings and then jewelry and every Valentine's, whoever invented that shit is a genius, dude. Buying shiny rocks twice and then paying I think it was a De Beers diamond company that monopolized the entire diamond industry. You know, they came up with a synthetic rock which is exactly the same. It's a synthetic diamond. It's made in a lab. It has the exact same properties that a natural one does, but the synthetic one is cheap because it was made in a lab, right? So you're paying a premium on the rarity because it was naturally made, right? You ever watch those videos from the diamond districts in New York? Those uh, those hustlers over there, for a lack of a better word. Hustler baby, hoes plenty. I'm a hustler baby. Don't be a fool. This is to inform you. We're not talking about let's make communism happen. Let's have government fix these things for us. No, dude. No. No, we don't want the government involved in this shit. We want to inform you and tell you that this is the reality. This is what's happening. We don't want subsidies. We don't want governments limiting those people, giving permission to those. We don't want trade restrictions. We don't want any of that shit. That's just another obstacle. I don't want that. Just leave it like it is, the free market, right? Inform yourselves on credit cards and on predatory loans. Inform yourself on the De Beers company and car dealerships, and how the value of cars goes down 20%, right? Get confident in driving 98 Accords, all the young guys out there, if you're 16, 17, 18, you don't need to have a flashy car to get pussy. Any car would do, as long as your car starts. Even if people know that you have a car and you doesn't even run, that's enough for you to get laid. you can still you can still wear her out in the back seat. In the back seat of the caddy and chop it up with do or die. Do you wanna ride in the back seat of the caddy? Chop it up with do or die. Take a page from these Macs, from these Chicago guys. Take a page from any masculine man. He's not going out there buying Ferraris. He's a piece of shit work truck, or he has a 98 Accord. He's still pulling eights and nines. And it's not because of the car. It's just learn the confidence, guys. Just be confident in whatever car you have. You don't have to be keeping up with the Joneses. Fuck the Joneses, dude. Fuck their white picket fence and their golden retriever, right? Get yourself a Chihuahua. Get yourself a wiener dog. Get yourself a junkyard cat. Get yourself a Volvo. And get yourself a Buick, a grandpa car. And be the biggest pimp on your block. And get all the eights and nines. Get all the mamacitas. Get the Latinas. Learn Spanish. ¿Qué tal, mamacita? ¿Qué dices? Tú muy hermosa. Say, tú muy hermosa. Quiero tú. Yo quiero tú. Say shit like that. Fucking drives them wild. They fucking can't resist that shit. They love it. Learn Spanish. What does it cost you? Nothing. Learn guitar. Learn from our black brothers. Learn from our Mac daddies. Don't learn from the bankers. The bankers are going to tell you, go get this expensive car so you can pull all these chicks and you get this pussy magnet over here installed in this Hummer so you can pull all this pussy. You don't want that pussy anyway. That's superficial pussy. You don't need that. And on that note, yeah, just another rant. Um, I didn't really say anything worth recapping. Yeah, I did actually. I talked about banks. I talked about mortgages, credit cards. I talked about predatory loans. I talked about a few things. Learn Spanish. Get some hobbies. Make your coffee at home if you can. You save a lot of money. Don't get DoorDash. Get your lazy ass up and cook a burrito like you know that you should. Like you know like you should. And make some rice. Get a rice cooker. Eat some rice for your bitch ass. And I guarantee you will feel a lot more full from all that rice than those tiny little portions that they're giving out right now at Chipotle. And most importantly, stay safe out there. Guard your health. That's important. Getting old sucks. Guard your health. Listen to your dad, right? Your dad told you these things. Your grandpa, he told you these things. Listen to those guys. They're smart. They're wise. They've been around longer than you. I'm saying this to myself as well. Foremost, listen to the older guys. Their wisdom is should be cherished, right? Take it from somebody that already walked that path. And have fun. Stay safe out there. And remember, peace and pussy grease.